So this last weekend was Combo Breaker 2024, and with it came another showing of 2XKO, albeit this time done a bit differently than Riot's previous playtests. Instead of the large-scale stages and showcases of past events, they kept things on the smaller side. The main showing was these 4 cabinets more or less snuck into the tournament's dedicated arcade room, open for play to all event attendees. With that, there were still a few devs on site for player interviews, getting footage for the typical social media post, and even a good old-fashioned salty suite for those lucky enough to be pulled behind the curtain for some matches directly with pros and developers themselves. And as it turns out, I just so happened to be in attendance for the event as well. So I was able to get some dev chats in and, of course, finally get more hands-on time with the game. With it only being the arcade cabinets this time around, I unfortunately didn't record more footage. But with that, what I will say is I actually quite enjoyed the way that this playtest was handled. Was a bit surprised at first, if I'm totally honest, but Combo Breaker was actually a 24-hour venue for the first time this year, so getting to play well into the late nights and even the early hours of the morning, and being planted firmly in the center of the tournament's arcade area very much felt at home for a community built on the arcade scene and that grassroots styling that we all know and love. But now, speaking of shakeups and another surprise addition, the game was also added to the lineup of Combo Breaker's Mystery Game Tournament. Riot was making these teasing posts just before the top 8 cutoff, and then in fact did show up as a featured game for the first 2 matches, which to my knowledge marks the very first official and public tournament match of 2XKO. It was cool to see, and if you look very closely, you might just be able to see me sitting in the crowd getting hyped to see the game show up. Links in the description if you want to take a look and play Where's Waldo to find me while you're at it. Now, moving along to some recent details outside of Combo Breaker, Draggles took to Twitter to show off some more swag that was included for the EVO Japan test that wasn't widely shown before, showcasing some physical guides that were made to give some basic tips of how to play. And just a side tangent, I would love to see these pop up again for future events, as it's kind of a cool little collector's item. But it also brings up another thought I've had about how much I would personally adore the idea of full-on game guides with frame data when the game eventually does come out. But I will also be the first one to point out that that's probably not going to happen because the game is being sold as a live service game, so things like frame data and move properties would be out of date pretty quickly, but hey, you never know, maybe they could make it work somehow. And with that, finally brings us to the always important question, when do we get more news from here? Well, if you ask me, and just to be clear, this is pure speculation on my front, it's looking like the best bet is right around the corner with Summer Games Fest starting on June the 7th. Riot is already confirmed to be in attendance for the event, and let's not forget that earlier this year, Tom Cannon did very clearly say that they will be showing up at more events soon, and they have shown for non-fighting game-centric ones in the past already. So keep your eyes peeled and fingers crossed for some potential new information coming very soon. But until then, thanks so very much as always for watching, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.